Weeks ago, and he is the Horse Transport Group Scholar for 2018. He was third at Mill Street in the CICO 3-star with Barrichello. He rides here in the CCI 3-star. Shannondale Percy was also fourth there, and at Gatcombe CIC 3-star 9th with Barrichello. Jardy, the CIC 3-star, the Event Rider Masters, won that.
She's a really inexperienced horse. She did her first event actually last summer at a B100, and she's ever so talented and rocketed up through the grades. And like Spencer kindly said, it's probably the only kind thing he's probably going to say about me this morning, but said that she won at Gatcombe Intermediate just on Friday. So you know, she's really showing her potential and coming along really nicely. I thought this would be a wonderful experience for her because she's not been to a big international before, so the experience of staying away and coming into a main arena is brilliant. And as you can see, the speakers and stuff is something new for her to deal with. But she'll go away from this, and although she looks a little bit excitable now, she'll be able to think about it and come back and be more prepared. Hopefully, when she may be doing the 8 and 9-year-old class next year. Today we're just going to show you some short, simple exercises. We've only got like 20 minutes or so of how we would just try to develop a little bit of athleticism into our horses. If you wanted to go on a bigger stride, you can go to the outside of the fan. But what we want to do is develop the horse to stretch over the oxa and then be able to close itself down, bend through its rib cage, lift up through its shoulders, and be alert and think about coming through the poles. And we'll slowly raise the poles to make the exercise a little bit harder. So it's something that we would do with 4 and 5-year-olds, but we still do with the advanced horses. Obviously, you just make it a little bit more difficult for the advanced horses by raising the poles a bit or making the distance a little bit shorter between the oxa and the poles, or how many times you would repeat it. But what you're wanting is quality, not necessarily quantity. And once you get the horse focused on the exercise, hopefully she'll be less distracted. And that's what we want to try and develop into our work, that we become the distraction as a rider, not everything that's going on around and about. It's good she's poking her head around, because as you see, we've got our customized flare strip on her nose. So if everybody hasn't seen it, I'm sure they have now. Team Bragg, front, back and side. We're doing our best to promote ourselves. But I'll just run her through this exercise and then we'll develop it, and hopefully Spencer, who you can see quite clearly in the nice salmon-coloured trousers, wandering across. Just one more thing for the horse to spook at. But I need to get something in before he gets the microphone back, because believe me, he'll get his own back. So I'll carry on riding, trying not to fall off, and I'll pass you over.
A couple of microphones going so we can have a bit of banter. Him and I are fairly well known for our jovial moments, but it's great to have him here. And as he said, with this mare, fairly green and fairly inexperienced, but you know, coming up through the grades, and it's one thing. And what's happening with their feet, making them think on their own. South Lawn yesterday. And this mare, very much working towards international career, is getting her to think about where her feet are going and getting her to think on her own, rather than us trying to do all of that. Simone's been given more instructions. So just the middle part is going up, I think. So again, thinking that
become more engaged, use her hind legs a little bit more and lift through her body, so she starts to use her core muscles. And this is what we need to develop, not just to be successful, but the fitter and stronger your horse is, the less likely it's going to get an injury, because injuries happen generally because of fatigue, where the horse gets unbalanced. So what we're trying to do is build great core strength so we can reduce injury as well as produce a great event horse. But by raising the outside of the poles more than the inside, helps the horse think about turning to the inside. We're trying to push her in, so I can keep pushing her out with my hind leg and make my leg to make the inside hind leg work a lot harder. And the poles and the exercise are helping me do that, because they're trying to encourage her to turn.
Do that anyway. And Margie, part of the Horse Transport Group Committee, said Alex has got probably the nicest thighs in the eventing world. Hurrah! I'm amazed he hasn't got Bragg on his thighs as well. Oh, he has sometimes, apparently. He brags about everything else. Direction. But she's got to think. A bit more confident this time, but again, just using that pavilion just to shy away. And then press. 4. Counting the strides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 5 now.
Encourages the horses to peak their jump in the middle of the fence, so they can judge the width of the fence. Really doesn't like them salmon trousers. Because what you'll often see is horses will have, very scopy horses, can sometimes be too careful over the front rail and then actually drop on the back rail, or they can just aim for the back bar and then disregard the front one. And what we want is a nice bascule. And although when we're going cross country, we have a flatter jump, it is still a bascule. You still want to know where the front feet are taking off from and where the front feet are landing, so you can make all your judgments. So you need the horse to be respectful of both sides of the oxer, and this really does give the horse just a sort of gauge, a reference point, so it can pick the middle of that oxer and then make a lovely jump and land equally, both from takeoff and landing.
So just watch Alex's upper body, not just his thighs, just watch his upper body. Lands tall. And what's interesting is watching the mare come through and be very foot clever with the 3 rails here. The oxer playing its part, Alex then leaving her alone, but she's always jumping the fences. 2, 3, 4. I actually prefer to going that way. What? It's easier. But she stayed much more in the middle of the grid fences here in the 3. She was much straighter. Can you pick up a microphone so we can hear you? What? Same both ways. She's a great analyzer of what she's about to do, and that's the nice thing about these horses. And she looks really intelligent.
Yeah, she's very intelligent.
Unlike you.
I do struggle to keep up with this one. I mean, that's the you need them to be sharp and smart, but you do have to work with that. Right, what we're going to do now, because she is diving in so much, and she isn't really showing you what the exercise is about, because the horse should be very relaxed through its body, and she's very tight. She's being very quick, like Spencer said, with her hind legs, but she is very, very tight in her back, which is not what we want. Middle, a little bit higher. Yeah. So this pole hopefully will just encourage to push her out. So it's just a little guide rail. So we're going to come in again on the nice forward 4 strides, keep my hands low, let the exercise do its business and see what happens now.
And it's important, as Alex said, this whole exercise is designed for them to do the thinking and not for us to do all of the riding. It's very much that they come in, they find their feet, they understand the question, because at some point in their career, and it's probably more often than not, that they have to think for us. That was a nice jump in the middle, Alex. Pop that. So that guide rail in the middle, just keeping her on that slightly wider outside line, because she is diving away to the inside.
Relax, you'll be able to shorten up to that degree. We're asking her to shorten up way more than you would expect in competition. But you've also got to be prepared in your work at home to, if the exercise is going to work properly, you may need to make some adjustments. You want the horse, you want it to be beneficial. You don't just want to say, well, this is strict for every single horse and this is exactly what it's got to do. So, you know, you have to be prepared to make some changes.
So for those of us, Alex,
Yeah?
that have been out of the game for a little bit,
Okay. Silver foxes.
just explain, just tell us what distance you've got this on, from the oxer to the first rail and the rail to the middle and the middle to the last part.
So I never picked a distance really for
Right.
the oxer. I
Okay.
just put the oxer so it wasn't in the way of the rest of the course.
Right.
And then I just rode the distance to start with. You could build that on a specific distance, but actually what you're trying to do is train your eye and train the horse to actually train its eye and train its body to adjust to the exercise and the poles in front of it. So it actually is better. When you're kind of at a 4 or 5 stride distance, you're very capable of making those adjustments than it is for the horse. If you go to a 2 or 3 stride distance, it has to be specific, because otherwise you'll just trip the horse up. It's impossible for it to adjust itself in that short space. So yeah, when you're 4, 5 or more strides away, you just place the poles and just let the exercise happen. And this actually develops our riding. Well, it's cross-country riding is all about being able to be effective and react to different situations. I'll quickly have a go at this before she gets tired. So.
Yeah, valid points, and as you said, and it's really important, I think, as a rider and for a horse, we learn that as we go along. But for the horses to learn independence when they're going cross country, Simone now standing where she's standing just to make the mare go around her a little bit more, use her as a little bit of a barrier to stay on that outside line, exactly like she did. There is that almost tree, just a beautiful tree as you are, just to keep the mare on that slight outside line. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so next time Alex comes in, she is getting a little bit tired because you've got her to have a conscience. You made that mistake, not me. It's a grid. It's set up for you to learn from, and she
A
did.
couple of event riders yesterday as to what does it take to be an successful event rider.
Nice
and one of the
thighs.
riders quite rightfully said,
Nice thighs.
yeah, nice thighs, nice strong thighs. Cool, tell you what, those glasses are working well, Spencer, today. He said you need self-confidence, self-belief. You know, sometimes you need to be selfish to achieve what you want. And that's absolutely right. You need that as an event rider. You need self-belief. But also characteristics of being a successful sportsman, not just an event rider, and not just the determination and self-belief, but also the patience and understanding. And that allows you to understand your horses as well as yourself. And when I'm going through there's no point in me getting angry with the horse because she's being distracted by everything. I just need to be patient. She needs to have time to relax. She needs to have time to understand what I'm asking her, and then she can really deliver. And now this is now a positive experience for her, not a negative one, because I haven't got upset with her, and then she hasn't become upset with the exercise and what we're trying to achieve. So please remember that try and think and reflect on what's happening when you're riding your horses. If it's not going right, have the patience to think, why is it not going right? Don't just get frustrated straight away. Maybe adjust something. Maybe you just need a breather, you need to go away and come back and have a go the next day. I said, but being successful really is being thoughtful. You know, you can try as hard as you like, but without direction, you won't go anywhere. So please try and think, be patient, give yourself some direction. You know, involve a coach if that helps, if you feel too inexperienced. People on the ground are really important. As Spencer was saying, my team on the ground and my coaches are really important to my success. So just build your team, but yeah, just be thoughtful, be patient, but give yourself direction. That's the last thing that I really would like to leave you all with, rather than just one exercise, but something just to take home with you with your horses.
Well, thank you very much, Alex, Bragg, Simone, Hannah. You've got a bottle of wine and some chocolates. Thank you very much. You've done a great job here. Horse Trial Support Group Scholar for 2018, and a worthy Horse Trial Support Group Scholar He's had some great success this year. And if you don't know anything about the Horse Transport Group, then do Google them on the websites. You don't have to own a horse to be amongst the members of the Horse Transport Group, but there are many benefits from doing that, and we support riders like this. Alex Bragg, Laura Collett. Alex, who's had some huge success over the last 12 months. Laura Collett is lying first and second in the CIC 3-star with the Capo and London 52, and that is all down to the support from the funding that they get from us, that they get from the support of you guys as well. So do join. It's not a big budget, and there's I think we've got a new tier system coming in, so if you'd like to go on the website and find out all about that, then do that. But for now, give him one more round of applause. Alex Bragg.